If you have ever felt confused about attraction, told to be endlessly nice, endlessly available, endlessly agreeable, only to find that it somehow weakens the very connection you hope to build, then this conversation is for you. Today we're going to explore a perspective inspired by Niccolò Machiavelli, not to manipulate or dominate, but to understand human nature more honestly. Machiavelli lived in a world of shifting alliances, betrayal, and survival. And he studied power not as a moral fantasy, but as a pattern of behavior. When we carefully extract the psychological core of his thinking and apply it to modern relationships, what we find is not cruelty, but clarity. He observed that respect is more stable than affection, built on weakness. In relationships, this translates into a simple but uncomfortable truth. Kindness without strength is often perceived as neediness, while kindness backed by self-respect is magnetic. Many men are taught that being agreeable at all costs will earn love. Yet when niceness is driven by fear of rejection, it subtly communicates insecurity. Psychologically, humans, regardless of gender, are wired to feel safe around stability and strength. Evolutionary psychology suggests that, across history, partners who demonstrated competence, emotional regulation, and resilience were associated with survival. This does not mean aggression or dominance, it means grounded presence. A man who cannot hold boundaries, who avoids conflict to preserve approval, unconsciously signals fragility. On the other hand, a man who can say no calmly, who can disagree without emotional collapse, demonstrates what psychologists call self-regulation, the ability to manage impulses and emotions under pressure. That trait alone predicts long-term relationship success more than charm ever will. The illusion of niceness becomes clearer when we separate genuine kindness from approval seeking. Kindness rooted in strength says, "I choose to treat you well." Niceness rooted in fear says, "I hope this makes you stay." One is abundance, the other is scarcity. And scarcity thinking, believing you cannot replace or survive without someone, creates desperation, which quietly erodes attraction. Machiavelli wrote extensively about the stability of power structures, and while romantic relationships are not political states, the psychology overlaps in one key way. Power that depends on external validation is unstable. The real currency of attraction is not dominance over others, but mastery over self. Emotional control, composure in chaos, the ability to remain centered during disagreement. These qualities communicate security. Neuroscience shows that humans are highly attuned to emotional contagion. We subconsciously mirror the emotional states of those around us. If you panic, cling, or overreact, that anxiety transfers. If you remain calm and grounded, that stability transfers as well. Women, like men, unconsciously assess whether a partner can handle stress without collapsing. What is often described as testing is rarely malicious. It is usually a subconscious evaluation of emotional safety. When a man responds to tension with steadiness instead of volatility, he signals psychological resilience. Resilience builds trust. Trust builds attraction. Another central idea is purpose. A man without direction tends to orbit around a relationship as his sole source of meaning. That dynamic creates pressure. Psychological research on self-determination theory explains that humans thrive when they pursue autonomy, competence, and purpose. When someone abandons their ambitions to center entirely on a partner, they sacrifice autonomy. Ironically, this often makes the relationship feel heavier rather than deeper. A man with a mission, whether it is career, art, service, mastery of a craft, radiates direction. Purpose creates what we might call gravitational presence. It shifts the dynamic from "please choose me" to "walk beside me." This is not about neglecting a partner. It is about integrating love into a larger life vision. Attraction grows when both individuals feel they are part of something meaningful rather than being each other's only source of meaning. When you build rather than chase, you become valuable through substance instead of pursuit. Mystery plays a role as well. Psychology describes something called the effort heuristic, the tendency to value what requires effort more than what is freely given without cost. Oversharing immediately, revealing every insecurity, every plan, every vulnerability in the first phase of connection, can unintentionally remove intrigue. Healthy mystery is not deception. It is pacing. It is allowing discovery. Humans are wired to remain engaged when there is gradual unfolding. Novelty stimulates dopamine, the neurotransmitter linked to motivation and desire. When everything is revealed instantly, novelty declines. When depth is revealed layer by layer, curiosity sustains attraction. The key is authenticity without urgency. You do not perform mystery, you embody depth that cannot be consumed in a single moment. Then there is the misunderstood idea of the dangerous man. This concept is often distorted. What attracts is not cruelty, but decisiveness. Machiavelli observed that fortune tends to favor those who act boldly, rather than those paralyzed by caution. In psychological terms, confidence signals competence. Decisiveness reduces uncertainty. Many people feel safer with someone who can make a decision and stand by it, rather than someone who hesitates endlessly. Boldness communicates trusting oneself. It says, "I can handle the consequences." That quality, when balanced with empathy, is compelling. Passivity, on the other hand, often reads as fear of responsibility. Attraction frequently aligns with momentum, movement toward goals, toward growth, toward challenge. Momentum suggests vitality. Perhaps the most powerful principle is the ability to walk away. This is not about threatening abandonment, it is about genuine non-attachment. When someone tolerates consistent disrespect out of fear of being alone, they communicate that their standards are negotiable. Standards are psychological boundaries that define self-worth. Without them, resentment builds quietly. Walking away from what diminishes you is an act of self-respect, and self-respect changes relational dynamics instantly. It transforms love from dependency into choice. Choice is powerful because it implies abundance. When both partners feel chosen rather than needed, attraction deepens. This aligns with attachment theory. Secure attachment does not cling, it connects while maintaining individuality. At the core of all these ideas lies self-mastery. Machiavelli's deeper lesson was never about manipulation. It was about understanding reality without illusion. Self-mastery means confronting insecurity, regulating emotion, building competence, and aligning actions with values. It means developing discipline not to impress others, but to refine oneself. Women and people in Walsh, on my part. Women and people in general are perceptive. They can detect inconsistency between words and behavior. Techniques fail when they are not backed by internal change. Genuine transformation shows in posture, tone, decision-making, and emotional steadiness. You cannot fake internal order for long. The work is inward. Build strength, cultivate purpose, maintain mystery through depth, act boldly, hold boundaries, be kind from abundance, not fear. When these traits converge, attraction becomes less about tactics and more about character. This perspective reframes relationships entirely. Instead of asking, "How do I make her like me?" the question becomes, "Who am I becoming?" Attraction then becomes a byproduct of growth. The paradox is that when you stop chasing validation and start constructing a meaningful life, validation often follows. But even if it did not, the life you build would still be worth living. That is the quiet power behind these principles. They are not tricks, they are disciplines. They demand introspection and courage. And while they are inspired by a Renaissance thinker navigating political chaos, their relevance today lies in psychological truth. Humans are drawn to stability, strength, purpose, and authenticity. Master yourself, and you naturally alter the dynamics of every relationship you enter. The transformation is less about controlling others and more about refining your own character until your presence alone communicates clarity, direction, and self-respect. That is where real attraction begins, and that is where sustainable, respectful relationships are built. Now let's go even deeper, because if we stop at surface-level ideas like be strong or have purpose, we risk turning a psychological insight into a slogan, and slogans don't change lives. Transformation happens when you understand the mechanisms underneath behavior. When we talk about strength in attraction, we are really talking about emotional regulation. In psychology, emotional regulation is the ability to manage and respond to emotional experiences in a balanced way. It doesn't mean suppressing feelings. It means you are not ruled by them. A man who becomes reactive, jealous, controlling, or desperate at the slightest sign of uncertainty communicates instability. Instability feels unsafe. Safety is foundational to attachment. Attachment theory, originally developed by John Bowlby, explains that humans form emotional bonds based on early experiences of security or insecurity. As adults, those patterns show up in romantic relationships. Anxious attachment often looks like clinginess, fear of abandonment, constant reassurance seeking. Avoidant attachment looks like emotional distance and discomfort with closeness. Secure attachment, however, looks like calm confidence. You can love deeply without losing yourself. You can disagree without fearing collapse. That secure energy is attractive because it feels solid. When Machiavellian ideas are interpreted psychologically rather than politically, they point toward internal sovereignty. Sovereignty over your impulses, sovereignty over your reactions, sovereignty over your direction in life. And here is where many men quietly struggle. They confuse intensity with depth. They believe that proving love through constant attention, dramatic gestures, or emotional overexposure will secure attraction. But intensity without grounding often overwhelms rather than attracts. Depth, on the other hand, develops slowly. Depth requires patience. It requires space. Space is uncomfortable for people who fear losing control. But paradoxically, space creates desire. When you allow room for someone to miss you, to wonder about you, to think about you, you create psychological tension. And tension, in moderate amounts, fuels attraction. Not chaos, not drama, but subtle uncertainty combined with consistency. That combination signals, I am steady, but I am not owned. There is also the question of validation. Many men unknowingly place women on a pedestal, believing approval from a romantic partner will heal internal insecurities. But validation outsourced is power surrendered. If your sense of worth rises and falls based on someone's mood or attention, you are emotionally dependent, and dependency distorts attraction. It shifts the dynamic from partnership to emotional caretaking. A healthy relationship is not built on one person stabilizing the other. It is built on two stable individuals choosing each other. Choice is powerful because it implies freedom. If you are free to leave but stay, your presence carries weight. If you feel trapped or afraid to leave, your presence loses value. Let's examine the idea of boldness more carefully. Boldness is not recklessness. It is calculated risk aligned with conviction. In evolutionary psychology, decisiveness signals leadership capacity. Historically, groups survived under leaders who could make timely decisions. That imprint still exists in human perception. Someone who hesitates endlessly can appear uncertain or lacking direction. Someone who decides and adapts communicates capability. Capability is attractive because it reduces ambiguity. Humans are uncomfortable with ambiguity. We crave predictability in core character traits. If a man's values shift depending on who he is with, he becomes unpredictable in a destabilizing way. But if his principles remain consistent, even when inconvenient, he becomes predictable in a stabilizing way. That predictability builds trust. Trust and attraction are intertwined. Attraction may ignite through novelty and mystery, but it survives through trust. And trust grows from congruence, alignment between words and behavior. If you say you value respect but tolerate disrespect repeatedly, you undermine your own credibility. If you say you value discipline but lack follow-through, your internal narrative weakens. Self-trust is the first layer. If you cannot rely on yourself, others sense it. This is why self-mastery is the foundation of everything we've discussed. Self-mastery includes physical discipline, emotional awareness, intellectual growth, and moral clarity. It is not about becoming cold or manipulative. It is about becoming integrated. An integrated man knows his strengths and his flaws. He did not project insecurity outward through control. He addresses it inward through growth. Another critical aspect is abundance mentality. Scarcity thinking whispers, "This is my only chance. I cannot lose her." Abundance thinking says, "I value this connection, but I value myself too." Scarcity produces clinging behavior. Abundance produces calm behavior. And calm behavior is often perceived as confidence. Confidence, by definition, is trust in one's ability to handle outcomes. It is not certainty that everything will go your way. It is certainty that you will survive and adapt if it does not. That mindset changes how you approach relationships. Instead of negotiating your identity to avoid rejection, you express yourself authentically and accept that compatibility determines the outcome. Compatibility is often overlooked. Not every connection is meant to evolve into commitment. Sometimes attraction fades, not because you lacked strength, but because values misaligned. Recognizing misalignment without internalizing it as personal failure is maturity. Walking away gracefully from incompatibility is strength. Now let's revisit mystery, but from a deeper psychological angle. Humans are narrative-driven creatures. We are drawn to unfolding stories. When you reveal everything immediately, you collapse the narrative arc. But when you live a full life, pursuing projects, friendships, growth, your identity naturally contains layers. You do not need to manufacture mystery. It exists because you are expanding. Expansion is attractive. Stagnation is not. If a man's life revolves entirely around a relationship, growth slows. When growth slows, excitement declines. When excitement declines, attraction often follows. Maintaining individual growth within partnership sustains vitality. It is also important to challenge a dangerous misinterpretation. Strength does not mean emotional suppression. Emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and articulate feelings, is deeply attractive. The difference lies in timing and stability. Sharing vulnerability from a grounded place builds intimacy. Dumping emotional chaos in search of rescue builds pressure. Vulnerability should be an offering, not a demand. At the highest level, what women, and people in general, respond to is coherence. Coherence means your actions, values, emotions, and ambitions align. There is no internal contradiction between what you claim and how you behave. Coherence feels solid. It feels trustworthy. It feels real. Machiavelli studied power structures in states and leaders. Applied psychologically, the true state you must govern is your own mind. If your impulses overthrow your discipline, you live in internal chaos. If your fear dictates your choices, you are ruled by insecurity. But when you establish internal order through habits, reflection, and accountability, you become self-directed. And here is the final truth that often goes unspoken. Attraction is a byproduct, not a goal. When you focus solely on attracting someone, you shrink your world to a single outcome. When you focus on mastery, growth, contribution, and purpose, attraction becomes secondary. Ironically, that detachment increases your magnetism, because when you no longer need approval to feel worthy, you interact differently. You speak differently. You hold eye contact differently. You walk differently. Your energy shifts from seeking to selecting. The goal is not to become ruthless. The goal is to become rooted. Rooted in values. Rooted in discipline. Rooted in purpose. From that place, kindness is powerful, not pleading. Confidence is calm, not loud. Mystery is natural, not forced. Walking away is dignified, not dramatic. If you take anything from this entire reflection, let it be this. Build yourself so thoroughly that any relationship you enter enhances your life rather than defines it. Cultivate a mission that excites you. Develop emotional control that steadies you. Maintain standards that protect you. Offer love from abundance, not fear. When you do that, you are no longer chasing attraction, you are embodying it. And remember, transformation is not instant, it is gradual. It requires uncomfortable self-examination. It requires confronting insecurity without blaming others. But the reward is profound. Not just better relationships, but a stronger identity. Until next time, continue building, continue refining, continue mastering yourself. I'll see you in the next video.